Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seal Podcast, episode number 150.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, what a milestone. Such a milestone that Dave hasn't even been bothered to
Yep.
turn up.
And we've got extreme close-ups going on the Twitch stream as well.
Ah, brilliant. Anyway, welcome to Seal Podcast. I am your host, Fraser. I'm joined on my left by Neil. I was about to say
Hello.
Dave.
So it's going to leave me till last. Well, I guess I'm last anyway.
That's all we got. All you get, folks. Mark is in the chat. He says, "Who's Dave?" Exactly.
Dave who?
Some bloke. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So probably a bit of a cut down show today with just the two of us, but that's okay.
We'll see. We've got a lot of games on the list for once.
Yeah, there's quite a bit on the list. We're doing all right. So without further ado, then Neil, do you want to just take us into the football first?
Shall we? Shall we do the football? Let's have a look.
I mean, I can start with a little bit on the football and tell you that it is kicking off. The shit thrown around is going hard with the Garcast. I've had to join the Garcast Discord to defend my honor. And throw some shade back at those boys over there. Well, it is all happening.
They are propping up the rest of us, a couple of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're threatening me. They were saying they're going to get me, but now I've decided to focus.
Like so there's only... Hang on, let me just look down the league. Who's Garcast then? Not seeing anyone on the first page.
Oh, dear.
There we go. Oh, there's Gary, 16th. I think they're talking a lot of shit there, mate.
Yeah, there is one of them right behind me. I think I can't see the list because I'm a few seconds behind when you're
I'll go down a bit further. I've got to find you. I'll scroll a bit past Gary.
Yeah, you got to go down. Yeah, I'm really bottom feeding down the bottom there. Well, Gary's ahead of me.
Yeah. I didn't like to say too much, but yeah. You're ahead of the rest of them.
Yeah. And then Luis Estevez. Yeah, he's the one. He was saying he's going to catch me. We'll see about that.
Oh, he did start a week late. Is this the one that started a week late?
I don't care. Well, that's, he's obviously got
did
issues.
All right last week.
Starting late. Yeah, all right. Yeah, he did. He put 25 more points on than me. Redmond's down there at the bottom. Yeah, he ain't doing shit. Anyway, we'll see. It is on like Donkey Kong.
Good stuff. Hopefully you'll get a bit close to me then.
We'll see.
Right. Well, top of the pops style rundown is top scorer of the week was John Wilson.
Nice.
Heard of him somewhere. He scored 88 points. It's closely followed up by Tim Kelly on 86. A couple of banging weeks there, and I think the next score was 70 something. Was it 76? It might have even been 76. My wife did all right last week. In the football, anyway. Still losing at life, obviously. Pilch back to the top.
Is that a subtle dig at yourself?
Yes, it was.
I like it.
Pilch gone back top. 850. They keep switching around these two, I think, at the minute. Paul Davies back second on 849.
Known by his fingernails there, eh, Pilch?
Pretty close. Dave was the lowest scoring seal of us on 41 points. That was despite Fraser captaining Cancelo, who got sent off and scored you -4 points. So, and Pilch, we're still referring to Pilch as a seal, but he hasn't been there for a while, but he's scored 63 points.
Tell you what, the touch of death is doing my head in. I can't make any changes without it causing absolute mayhem amongst my team. I don't know what it is.
I did a couple of transfers last week, and they were a 50-50. I did okay on one and a bit of shit on the other one. So,
right.
It is the first round of the overall cup this weekend, so please try and raise your efforts if you want to get through to the second round of the cup, which will be after the 26th of December. We commence the 26th of December.
So it's the top 8.5 million, right? Go through. So I think you just need to put in a half decent week, and you'll be,
Well, it depends who you get called against. You never really know who you're going to be up against. It could be someone who could just fucking triple captain the guy who goes and scores a hat trick who's never played.
Oh, it's cup, isn't it? Yeah. It's not even.
So you're literally playing against another team.
So was it qualifying for the cup last
Qualified last week. And then from now on, you're drawn against another side. And if you beat them, you progress to the next round of the cup, as generally how cups work. And at the end, if you're still there, you win the cup. I don't know. Well, there is a prize at the end of it, but good luck winning that. Because there's, like you said, there's like 8.4 million people in it at the minute.
Well, that's all right. Next week there'll only be 4.2 million.
Exactly. It's like the preliminary round of the FA Cup. There's 8.4 million teams in the cup. And then, obviously, you get half. It goes down by half every week. So, give it a few weeks. Well, a few game weeks. But maybe down to a couple of million left. So,
anything's possible.
Indeed. Oh yes, and this is the final game week, obviously, before the World Cup. So after this week, there will be no fancy Premier League updates until I think it's Boxing Day is the next Premier League game, something like that.
Right.
After this weekend. So in the meantime, I don't think there'll be any football next week. Well, it might be because it's World Cup time. So the World Cup Fantasy Football League has been set up. There is a link in the Discord, if you're in the Discord. And if you're watching on Twitch, if you type !WCFF in the chat, you should get a message with a link to join the league. And that will work whether on or offline. So even if we're not here on Twitch, you can type that into the chat and it should send you a message. A little whisper, what they call it on Twitch. So you just get a direct message. It'll pop up at the bottom of the Twitch window. Click on that. They'll get a link to join the league.
What do we have to type in?
!WCFF. There is a text scrolling across the screen at the moment saying that.
WFF.
Oh, for God's sake. WCFF. World Cup Fantasy Football.
How do I do an exclamation mark?
I'm just kidding. You taking the piss?
No. Nothing's come up.
You get a little message.
WCFF?
Right, you'll get a little message at the bottom. There's a little pop-up that pops up at the bottom of your Twitch window.
Oh, okay, all right. Good work, Neil. Everybody, please acknowledge Neil's hard work in the background, making all this happen.
Thanks to all of the applications and stuff that make this shit work without me actually really doing a great deal amount of work. So, yeah, easier to probably just join the Discord. If you type ! Discord in the chat, you'll also get a link to join the Discord. That should also work whether it's on or offline if you haven't already done so. Though no one's on Twitter anymore, obviously, because everyone's fucking leaving. I'm coming direct from Twitter HQ, as you can see behind me. Everything's on fire. So there we go.
Yeah, that's an old dumpster fire, isn't it? Good stuff. Okay, any more football? Is that it then? So
that's the football chat for now.
When's the first game of the World Cup? When does it actually start?
I think it's the 15th. It's a Sunday. And it's the big one. Big guns are out. It's Qatar versus Ecuador.
15th of December.
No, November. That's literally like 2 weeks. Oh, it might be the 16th.
Well, it was the 11th 17th. Today. So
yeah, that's right. I don't fucking know what day it is. I'm sure it's a Sunday. 2 weeks on Sunday,
starts
I think.
In 4 days.
No, hang on. What the fuck? No, I don't know what I'm talking about. 25th, then it must be. I don't fucking know. I'll tell you in a minute.
That sounds better.
I've fucking worked it out.
Okay, let's move on to then what we've got from the community. Dan, Hardly Dan, friend of the show, says, with what purchase have you lost the most money on? I saw this question earlier and nothing sprang to mind. I mean,
I don't know how can judge, because basically I bought a brand new car that cost like £10,800 or whatever, and eventually it went to scrap. So I basically lost £10,800 on it. Plus, I also had to spend a shitload of money on it in the meantime to make it go anywhere.
Yeah.
And do anything.
But how long did you have it for?
Quite a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I don't know then, really.
I don't know.
I don't really buy anything. I don't buy investment stuff.
Yeah, see, that's the only thing that I can think of. I know I put some money into some oil shares that absolutely tanked the minute I bought them. I couldn't believe it. I just lost all my money straight away. But it was like only a few $100s. Like, I know, only Fraser.
Yeah, Mr. Moneybags.
Mr. Moneybags. But
right. Sunday the 20th of November is the first game of the World Cup.
20th, okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've lost. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing really, nothing
I've had
major. I don't think. I've always been,
no. What about loudspeakers that turned out to be completely dud and didn't work, and you had to throw in the bin?
No, I haven't. Nothing like that. I don't think. There's been small purchases I've made. I've made purchases. Where I've bought stuff and it's been junk or shit, and I've regretted it. But I don't know. I think I got a bit wiser with my money over the years.
Yeah.
Like some clothes and things like that. But the thing that bugs me the most is this. Hang on, I just got to shut my door here. The thing that
Mark's
bugs me
saying
the
interest
most.
payments, the ultimate waste of money.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah, I mean, anybody with a mortgage, that's welcome to our world.
Hopefully, I'll have paid mine off in a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know. Dog, he's cost me thousands.
Just in
He's worth
controllers
every penny.
or socks.
He's worth socks and controllers. He's worth every penny. So it's all good. Yeah, I don't. I haven't really got anything that sort of stands out, and I can think.
No, I've never bought I don't know, like an autographed copy of Gary Glitter's autobiography or something that would have gone absolutely to shit in value, obviously, or Jimmy Savile's autobiography or something like that. Bought them at the height of their fame, thinking you were onto a winner, and it turns out that wasn't a great investment.
So. Thousands of dollars on NFTs.
Oh yeah, I never bought any of them or any crypto.
I bought some crypto, but I still got it. So effectively, technically, I haven't lost money on it yet until I sell it.
It's worth more than you paid for it, is it?
It's half.
So you've lost money on that then.
Well, if I was to sell it now, I would lose money on it.
Yeah, I haven't lost 44 billion on anything recently. That's for sure.
No, not recently.
No.
Well, that's good. If you remember, perhaps in your past that you lost 44 billion, just maybe we can bring that up.
Yeah. Maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I'll have something for next week.
I'm guessing Lord is next here. He says, okay, since it's only the two of you, I'm going to do you a hunt quiz. Let's see how much you really know about the game.
Good job you said that correctly. Ooh. You didn't fall into the Jeremy Hunt culture secretary trap there.
Well, I don't know what that is, but I can imagine.
Well, he was the culture secretary and his name's Hunt, and they got conflated occasionally on the news.
I can believe it. By accident.
Or maybe they were just calling him a cunt. I don't know.
Oh, it's a bit early for a C-bomb, isn't it?
Well, there's no watershed here on Twitch. What am I doing?
Okay.
What am I doing?
You went through these earlier and put your answer. I haven't seen this quiz yet. I haven't read it yet,
okay.
So I'm coming in fresh.
Question Are you reading the quiz then?
Yeah, should I just read it from my notes?
Well, if you've printed them, you might as well. That would be a bit of a waste of money if you didn't read from them now, wouldn't it?
Question number 1. How many compounds are there listed on Stillwater Bayou map?
Multiple choice.
Is it A10, B12, C14, or D16?
I put my answers in the team chat earlier because I thought I might end up playing. I didn't want to be accused of cheating by anybody. So I went with A10. You
know what?
You awake?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to imagine how many I would think. There's probably usually about 3 across the top, maybe 3 or 4 in the middle. That's 7. Now
doing some difficult maths here, Fraser.
I'm going to go with 12, actually. I'm going to go with 12. I'm going to go with 12.
Well, I nearly went with 12, and I was like, that's how many players are on a map. Maybe it's like a trick question. But the answer is going to be fucking 12. Fucking 16? What?
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, come on, give us a bust. We'll have to cut us some slack. We haven't played much of it.
I've only done about 1,000 hours between us. All right, sorry.
Oh dear, shocking. Question number 2. At what bloodline level do you unlock the crown and king?
That's a shotgun. A repeating shotgun.
A52, B62, C85, or D92?
Well, I hope
52, 62, 85, or 92.
Who knows? I'm going to guess.
So basically, for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about, basically, as you progress, your level goes up. As you gain more experience, your level as a player goes up.
Your bloodline rank.
Yeah, and the more bloodline rank you get, the more access to different weapons you have.
And other things, traits and...
what are you going with?
85.
Okay, I got a bit of insider knowledge here on this one. I think that this just unlocked for me.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure, and I'm around about 64, so I'm going to go with 62.
I see. I had no inside knowledge. I rarely use this gun. The answer is fucking 92. Bollocks.
What?
Things have changed. Like
Balls.
things got unlocked. Like the only thing is with this, I'm hoping it's up to date because there was a patch recently and a lot of these things moved around. So that's how we're going to blame any mistakes on.
That's right. This could be wrong. Could be
It could
getting
be right
hosed here.
now, but we were right.
I may have just got
before.
given the gun for doing a side quest or something.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it was a reward for a summons or a quest.
Damn. Not doing very well today, are we?
Well,
question number 3.
I don't know how that's surprising in any way.
How much does the Sparks LLR cost to buy? 159, 169, 179, or 189?
I definitely bought one of these this morning. And I'd just like to point out, I'm pretty sure it's an LRR, not an LLR. Just saying. Because I'm assuming it's a long range rifle, because that was what it would make sense to me. But maybe I'm wrong, and it isn't an LR. I don't know. A long range rifle. I think I paid 179 for mine. It definitely starts with a 1 and ends in a 9.
Well, I'm going to go 189 because every time it's the biggest answer so far.
The answer is C, 179.
Oh, get in. He's right. He's romped to the lead.
Right, and this next question doesn't make much sense either.
What is the maximum prestige level? Yeah, that doesn't make much sense, does it?
No.
It says A20, B30, C40, or D50.
And the answer is E100.
Yeah. You have to prestige at level 100.
I think possibly that could be your hunter level.
Yeah. What is the maximum hunter level? Is 50.
But let's see what the answer says. The answer says D50. So that's the hunter level. The max is at 50.
Jesus, what kind of Mickey Mouse quiz is this?
Thanks anyway. Thanks for trying. But yeah, good on the whole. Got 2. Because we deciphered the incorrect statement on the last one. But you know.
Thank you, Lord. Much appreciated.
Awesome stuff,
we're going back to fact check this tonight, by the way, after the podcast.
I'm sure Mark's on the case. He's in the chat now.
Oh yeah.
He says we need to start a weekly highlight reel. Because some of those hunt shots are great.
Yeah, I put some. Neil's going to chastise me because I keep putting them against my own YouTube account. I don't put them against the Seal Podcast account.
You do you.
Thanks, Lord. Much appreciated, mate. Quaxel says, do you guys think gaming has reached its peak? I think with the amount of remasters or remakes, it is now a struggle for new ideas.
Wow. What do you think?
I feel somewhat disconnected from standard gaming these days. I don't give 2 hoots about any of these big games that are coming out. You know, any of the big AAA titles. I mean, really, I have no right to be doing a gaming podcast as far as I can work out. All I care about is going and playing. Well, it's not true. I mean, there's some stuff I enjoy, but the majority of my games that I play are games as a service that I am playing with friends. And when I look across at my kids playing games, they are playing games as a service with their friends primarily.
So we're more relevant with the youngsters, is that what you're saying?
We're hip. We're down.
Yeah, totally down with the kids.
So I think gaming hasn't reached its peak. I think the landscape has significantly changed.
So are you saying single player games are dead?
I think it's tough for the developers now. They are really on a knife edge. Like, if you take the market, say back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like the market was the market, right? You know,
that was what,
those AAA titles, everyone was waiting for a AAA title to drop that they could, you know, what is the next big thing that's going to drop that we can play on the console? But I just don't know how much of that is true. Like if we go, we've been through this a little bit before, where if you looked at sort of like the top 5 games, you know,
Grand
Minecraft,
Theft Auto.
Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto, like and maybe Call of Duty in there or something like that, or whatever. Like the games that haven't been, that were made 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so different out there.
At
So I guess
the same time, like, I don't know. I think everyone thinks about AAA space, don't they? Really, when they think about games, but there's never been such diversity as there is nowadays. I don't think. Fraser's got a massive collection of hentai porn games that he hides from everyone on his Steam library. Didn't want me to tell you about that, but there we go. There's fucking just all sorts of totally random shit that you can play. And there's a game for everyone nowadays. Whereas, like, say, 10, 15 years ago, there were games for gamers. And now gamers are fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's so many different types.
Mark in the chat says you can't get funding for a solely single player game from a publisher, really.
Unless it's Sony.
It's got to be hard, hasn't it?
Sony, not Sony.
Yeah, I mean the risks have to be massive now, and they all have to be eyeing up revenue streams beyond.
I don't know, but it's like price. I don't know. God of War is a single player game, a huge budget single player game. I assume be profitable because they're knocking it out for 70 quid. Loads of people will buy that now at top dollar. You can get it cheaper elsewhere, but that's probably going to make money, and that's like Mark says, it's part of a profitable series. I think the key thing is the big games that keep coming out, they're all fucking sequels or something built on something that was successful before. Like they know there's a formula that works. Like fucking Assassin's Creed. Look at Assassin's Creed. It's typical of this. How many of them have there been? And they just keep bringing another one out with a very similar, slightly maybe change a few things here and there, but they know that there's a market for that game, and they'll sell enough. Despite it must cost an absolute fucking fortune to make those things now, because there's thousands of people working on an Assassin's Creed game or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think it's difficult because it costs a fucking fortune now.
Yeah, I mean, has it reached its peak? No way has it reached its peak. I think it was interesting. I went for dinner. We were having dinner last week with some friends, and we were talking about games, which we always end up doing because they want to know what we're up to, and that's what we do. And I was talking about us playing Hunt and how sometimes now people will just be, 3 of us could be playing the game. We have a couple of guys who come in. Saturday nights are interesting now. Saturday nights tend to be like people are playing. There's about 2-3 other guys watching the stream on Discord.
It's a bit creepy, really.
People are streaming their screens.
We could actually put it on Twitch where more people could watch. You never know.
Yeah, but it's easier. Just like somebody turns up and goes, "Yeah, can I have a screen?" So you share their screen, and then I was telling them about Dave playing his cooking game and how the people in the chat could watch and order menus or order dishes or whatever. That sort of interaction that everyone can have. It fascinates me. How many little different things are popping up, interactions and ways to interact with gamers, and it's great. It's changing. Has it peaked? No, I don't think it'll ever. Well, will it ever peak? I don't know. It's just changing. I think if you're someone who's sat at home with no internet connection and just goes out to GameStop and buys a disc and goes home and pops it in your machine, you're missing out.
That's a shrinking number of people, surely.
That is a definite.
It's like look at the mobile space is just massive. Like we don't really ever talk about it. Like Marvel Snap's doing the rounds everywhere, so people who are playing it are all over it. But I was looking for streams for games today, spoilers-ish for a game that's coming up. PUBG Mobile, it's massive. And it looks like fucking Fortnite. I was like, what the fuck is this? I typed in PUBG and I was like, this looks like a Fortnite. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's the mobile version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to remember, like as easy as it is, or not as easy. That sounds a little bit odd, but for most of us, let's say most of us in this sort of Western world can go out and afford to buy a console, even from a Series S console or a decent, half decent gaming rig. There are a lot of people in the world who cannot afford, a console or a decent gaming rig, and they have to settle for, dumbed down.
a £1,500 mobile.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I can believe it. I can believe the numbers must be huge.
Well, I think mobile gaming puts everything else in the shade as far as like numbers wise.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got a fucking smartphone. Not everyone has a PlayStation or an Xbox. Like fucking, that's why Candy Crush and all that shit. Not really interested at all for me, but they're huge, make an absolute shitload of money.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know if he means like technically though. I think there's still ways to technically games will always get better. We are getting to a point though where it's a bit like you can't tell the difference between games and reality sometimes with some games.
Yeah, there was somebody there were some photographs I saw of Call of Duty in the Amsterdam levels. A lot of people were raving about that. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a little
just
bit
amazing.
That makes it a little bit more sort of unnerving to play those type of things. To run around somewhere that looks that real, and you're like, oh, I'm actually shooting someone in the face. Oh dear, that doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah, at what point does it get to be a little bit too much?
Yeah,
that's why we have zombies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and other people.
Quaxel, thanks for that question. Appreciate it. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions unless anything was added.
No, I don't think they're No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's move on then to what we've been doing. Shall I go first?
You can.
I've got a couple of things on here. So the first thing I never discussed last week, I forgot to mention it, was that my kids had their birthdays, which I had mentioned, and we went bowling, which we haven't done for a while, which was sort of fun. The kids didn't really enjoy it, but because they're crap. They're sort of they're at that age where they can't. When they can't do it, they don't really like it, right? Whereas I was kicking their ass and loved every minute of it. But afterwards, we went to this place called Demetra, and I don't know, maybe the Canadians amongst us, like Baron von Glara, may have heard of this place. Like, it's a dedicated dessert restaurant, which had been on my radar for a long time. I was like, we should go there at least once to try it. And so we did. We went in there, and as soon as you walked in, you could smell like the sugar, like it just smelled of powdered sugar when you walked in. And I have to say, I've never been so disgusted with a place in my whole life. It was just dreadful, just
worse
dreadful.
than McDonald's.
I mean, it was that sort of thing. Like, I think you should, if you came from the UK, you should take, if somebody came over, that's the place sort of the type of place you should take. They're like, they're all you can eat buffets we have here and things like that. You need to take people from the UK. You go, look at this place, and people just go, what the fuck? It's that North American.
Like we haven't seen an all you can eat the buffet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you come over here, they know how to do it.
I've never seen one with a woolly mammoth on there, that's for sure.
To a different degree than say the UK. But this place was just like, I immediately, I looked down the menu. I just went, you know what? Just a cup of coffee. That's all I'm going to have is a cup of coffee.
And
then I let my family order. And my wife ordered some sort of pie or whatever with ice
sugar
cream.
Pie.
My daughter ordered like this sundae that came in this thing, and my son ordered cheesecake. Right, the size
doesn't sound that weird.
The size of the piece of cheesecake they gave my son was unreal. Like, he couldn't finish that. My daughter could not finish the sundae. It just turned up in this massive bowl, right, of ice cream and Oreo cookies and all this sort of stuff. My wife didn't finish hers either. And I said to the guy, and we were looking around at some of the stuff people were eating. It was like, that is just not right. Like, the table next to us,
Gluttony.
this guy, the gluttony. I know it's just awful. At the table next to us, they ordered the banana split, right?
I like a banana split.
Mate, you like honestly, this should be on Beard Eats Food or whatever, right? You know, they didn't, the table next to us didn't finish that. And I said to the waiter, I'm like, you know, percentage wise, how many people don't finish what they order? And he goes, I reckon between 80 to 90% of people don't finish what they order. It's
Well,
like,
you're putting too
holy
much on their
smokes.
plates then.
Yeah.
Think of the waste. It's disgusting.
Oh, I know. Of course it is. Of course it is. And the amount of sugar going in people. I mean, it was an experience. It was like, I was glad we went there. I would never want to step foot in that place again. Like it was just phenomenal.
Wow.
So I thought that was worth a mention because it exists, right?
And we've been doing the whole excessive consumption of food recently. Watching a lot.
Yeah, well, I couldn't understand. Like, I just like, who wants to go and eat that much? Well, they're saying that there were some people in there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they just looked as though they were just all over it, right? It was just grim.
You can't order
It
more
was a
than
sort
one
of,
thing, though. Surely.
you know what you wanted to do? There were some tables that were there where they were like young couples out on a date, and you could see that would almost work. Like, you could maybe
We
share
could
the
get
banana
one
split.
between two. Yeah.
Exactly. You'd have to make it work, right? Yeah. Oh, it was gross.
Bit Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah. I have made some more hi-fi purchases. I've been on a little bit of an adventure. So I have a subwoofer, and the amp on the subwoofer blew. So I was like trying to figure out, plate amplifiers that go on the back of subwoofers are not particularly cheap to get. You can get them, but they're not. I was staring at probably about 150 something bucks to get a replacement
Yeesh.
plate amplifier, if not more. And so I made some fatal errors. This could almost come into the Dan's question earlier. Anyway, so somebody on Amazon, I hate Amazon, but there we go. There was a subwoofer amp for like $60. I was like, I'm gonna try it. And it turned up, and I hooked it up, and it was just weak as fucking shit. It was terrible. It's terrible. I should have known. Like, you pulled it out. It's got this little tiny power supply on it. It feels light. You know they're knocking them out from China at like about $10 a pop, and I paid.
They're
60.
definitely not Japanese transistors in there.
No. So I packaged that up and I sent it back today. And then I looked
So you
online.
didn't lose money on it, though?
No. So that's going back. So I didn't lose money on it. But I was a little bit disappointed with that. And then, you know what? I thought, before I send it back, I thought, I'll just look on YouTube to see if anybody's reviewed it. I only found out that there was a YouTube video on it that I'd already half or three-quarters watched years ago. So a part of me had already found out that it was cheap crap before, right? The thing about this sort of stuff is they sort of advertise it at like 100-watt amplifier, and they only end up putting out like half that. They, for some reason,
are they advertising the PMPOs or whatever, like the absolute max wattage?
No,
there's
no way you're getting that out of that amp. There's no chance.
I remember
no chance.
that being a thing. Like when I used to look at car speakers for your car when I was a bit of a Rudy. Not that I ended up buying some shit ones from Argos, and they were supposedly like 100 watts, but they were actually, when you get a hi-fi, you start learning properly about wattage, and it's like, yeah, they say it's 100 watts, but it's actually about 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And the Chinese have no hesitation in absolutely fudging their numbers on a lot of this stuff that comes out. So, I mean, you can pick up some decent stuff, but I mean, if you're looking for something to perform like you really, anyway. So I knew from a few weeks ago, I'd seen some guy advertising a plate amplifier, which was one of the ones that I wanted. And he was still advertising it today. So I just texted him this morning. I was like, oh yeah, is this still for sale? Offered him a little bit lower than he wanted. He goes, yep, still available. I'm working from home. You can pick it up whenever you want. So I shot down there at lunchtime today. Picked it up, cost me like $10 more than the one I'd ordered. It's got heft to it, It's got a bloody transformer on the back of it. So this thing is pushing out what it says it's going to push out. So I hooked that up and it's doing the job just fine. Thank you very much.
Lovely. So what sub is this? Like a hi-fi sub?
The Mission. It's like a Mission powered sub.
Oh.
But the amp went blown, so
That's
just replace that. Yeah, well, it's working now, so that's good.
Cool.
Yep. So that was more hi-fi purchasing by me, which is nice. And the only other thing I had on here was like I work my office right where I'm podcasting from right now. I have a view out onto my street, and we're a little sort of side street. We're not a main road at all. There's no reason for anyone to come down here unless they have business on the road. So lo and behold, I'm looking out my window the other day, and I hear this cop noise, like this sort of they make like when they need people to stop, and I look out, and the cops pulled someone over, and the person's driven into our complex, and she's pulled him over. This lady cop. Right outside my window. I'm like, fucking yeah, something to look at. Brilliant. Things are exciting today. Life is good. Anyway, I open the window just so I could just have it. No, I don't think I had my window open, but I could hear a voice. And I'm like, there's obviously words here that I should be listening to. So I open my window, right? And clear as day, I can hear this lady talking to the guy she pulled over. And it was just fascinating. Like the fucker started arguing with her. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't argue with the cops who just pulled you over. Like, there's sometimes when you have to do yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, sir, right? And when cops pull you over, that is one of the times, right? When you're up in front of a judge, that is one of the times. There's no mucking around here. If you want to try and be clever and let your emotions get the better of you, you're going to come off worse. And he just wouldn't stop arguing with her until she finally, like, she was just saying, I mean, how she kept her cool. I mean, that's why she's a cop and I'm not, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, dude, you could have got away with it. You might have got a warning, or you might have got like a reduced ticket. I'm, no way.
What did he do? What did he do?
As far as I could tell,
Was
he
basically
speeding? No, he wasn't speeding.
Bad driving?
He bad driving. He pulled out off the side road up here and basically pulled out in front of someone, made them stop or slow down, jam on the anchors. You know what I mean? And she had obviously seen it, so she come up behind him. Actually, I did gather a lot from the conversation. So she'd come up, because she had to explain to him like the rules of the road. She's like, you need to know the rules of the road. It's not my responsibility. Like I think he kept saying, I didn't know. Right? She's just like, I don't give a fuck what you know.
Carry on down this road, mate. We'll be taking your license away because you clearly don't know how to fucking drive.
Yeah, right. And then I think when she put the flashers on or whatever to pull him up, he stopped dead in the middle of the road, right? Instead of pulling over. So
for God's sake, you fucking idiot.
So anyway, he was an absolute fucking wombat. But it's just great. Proper entertainment. I really enjoyed that. I have to admit. That was yeah. Especially when she handed him the ticket and said, "Good day." You can read it. Read it. Yeah. But she pretty much threw it at him and walked off in disgust. It was great.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yep. We like a bit of that.
I don't get too much of that down my street. I'm on a cul-de-sac off a cul-de-sac, so I don't get fuck all happening.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Well, I've been to hospital this week, and a lovely lady shone lights in my eyes, laser lights. So it's been. I don't know if I've actually talked about it on here, but I've had what they call high pressures in my eyes. They were first found many years ago, but when I went to have them looked at the hospital, they said, "Oh, you've got thick corneas, and that's causing a misread on the machines." Back in the day, and when I went
what were
recently,
the symptoms?
No symptoms for me. I didn't have any symptoms.
They just discovered it when you had your eyes checked.
They just discover it when when you go and have your eyes tested. Once you get to a certain age, they might do the pressure test on your eyes to see that your pressures are all right.
Right. Is that where they put the puff of air in?
Yes, the puff of air in, yeah. And it gives them a read. And I went back a couple of years ago. They were high, but I was like, oh yeah, I had them looked at, blah, blah, blah. It's this, it's that. Then this year I went again to have my eyes done. I had my pressures done again because I have them done every time. And they were like, yeah, they're really quite high now. I'm going to refer you to hospital. I was like, oh, I have been. She was like, yep, the machine does take that into account these days and they're still really high. I was like, okay. So it's been going on since sort of September. So I've been to the hospital a couple of times, and they've measured my pressures, and they're supposed to be in the teens. And like the first time I went, they were in the 40s. I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound fucking good, does it?
Sounds like my cholesterol.
Yeah. And so what basically happens is there's the fluid in your eyes that builds up, and some of it's supposed to come out so that they maintain this like happy pressure. Because what happens if there's too much in there, the pressure builds, like, and it pushes on the optic nerve at the back of your eyeball, and you get glaucoma, and you go blind.
Okay.
So this is related to a question we had the other week. I don't think I mentioned it at the time, where someone's like, if you would rather lose your sight or your hearing, I was like, I definitely want to fucking keep my sight, because I'm
I
kind
may
of
not have
already
a
there.
choice.
So yeah, so I've been taking eye drops for about 2 months that I guess come some kind of acid in there to like break up a little bit of your surface of your eye to let some of this shit out. But they weren't really doing it. I've been back and they've been in the 20s, so it's still high, but not as high as it was. So this was like the treatment prescribed was to have this low energy laser. So yeah, a bit weird. I had some eye drops put in, sitting there in the waiting room for them to take effect. And I'm like, I'm getting a bit of a fucking headache. And I'm looking around in the room and I'm like, I've got my glasses on while I'm doing in the thing. And I'm like looking at stuff going, everything's going really fucking blurry. And I took my glasses off. I was like, everything's less blurry. What the fuck have they done to my eyes? This is fucking weird. And then, so I eventually go in and have them fucking, you sit on the machine, like a bit like we have the eye puffer test. And you're pushing your head against the bar. And she puts, I've had like anaesthetic in my eyes and everything, like drops in my eyes. And she puts this lens thing like literally on your eye. It fucking feels a bit weird. But yeah, and then she's like, right, look left. And you're like, she's like, when I do this, you must not move your eye. And I'm like, okay, I'm fucking really going to try hard to keep my eye perfectly fucking still. And she was just like, okay, push forward a bit more. Yeah, stay there perfectly still. That's perfect. And I'm like, don't move, don't move. And it's like zap, 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 zap. You can see like green light, laser light getting zapped in your eye. That took
So what are
about
they?
10 minutes.
She's like zapping right to the side of the
Yeah,
eye or
so I
something
have,
like
like
that.
around the cornea, basically, where you're like around the edge of your iris is where your cornea is, like the sort of raised lens, not a lens, obviously, because that's inside your eye. But there's like the bump above where you got your pupil, then your iris, and around your iris there is like the cornea that covers your iris and your pupil, and that's
Right.
like a bump. Uh, so yeah, and so after 10 minutes, she was like, "That's it, done." I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Yeah, you can go home now." Then obviously I wasn't allowed to drive because my eyes were a bit fucked up for a good couple of hours after. And hopefully, when I go back in 2 months' time ish, they'll measure my pressures and go, hunky dory. Otherwise, I'll be back on the eye drops. So
Right.
75 to 80% success rate on the laser treatment. So
Hmm.
thanks NHS, didn't cost me a penny.
Yeah. Good for you.
So
Good
yeah,
luck.
indeed, it's I ain't been worried because it's not really had any symptoms, but I've got to go for a field of view test in well, fucking 23rd of December. I was like, nice, great. 2 days before Christmas, go and have your field of vision. Have you ever done that before? You stick your head in the thing, you look at the red light, and then they shine little white lights, and you have to click a button whenever you see a white light in your field of view. But you've got to focus on the red light. You can't move your eye.
No, I haven't done any of that. I've been
Yeah.
to the opticians once in like the last 40 years or
Well,
something.
all I will say is, when you get to a certain age, just keep going to the fucking opticians, even if you think your eye's okay. Just fucking go, because yeah, you never know. I didn't have any fucking clue that I had high pressures in my eyes. There was no symptoms whatsoever.
All right.
So
All right.
it doesn't
Let's,
hurt. And
I'll
you
take that
might
advice
not
on.
go blind.
Yeah. My eyesight's deteriorating. It feels like it again. So I need to go for another checkup.
Indeed. And
All
that's it.
right.
That's all I've done. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's keep rolling along and
What's next?
games.
Games?
Ooh. We actually have some games on the
We
list.
do. Games other than one game for the first time in a while.
Yeah. Do you want to
Shall we take
do
it in
you want to go in?
turns?
Let's take it in turns, yeah.
Okay, you can go first because I was talking last.
Well, I have on here Ghost Song, which was on Xbox Game Pass. I loaded it up and I played it for probably, I reckon, a good half hour
I
or
was going
so.
to 30 seconds.
No. I played it for more than that. So it seems to be. I would say it's probably a bit like a Metroidvania.
It definitely looks a little like it
You
could
sort of
end up
start
being
off
that
as
way.
this robot. Seems like it's a female robot, which makes it even more Metroidy. And yeah, you sort of start going around these caverns or whatever, shooting things and collecting power ups and trying to find secrets and whatnot. I definitely didn't play this for half an hour. Now that I'm thinking of it, I
Literally
probably
played it
played
for
it.
about 10 minutes max.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 at a push. But I didn't delete it and I didn't uninstall it when I finished. I just think I played it and I thought it was okay. But again, the problem, like,
it's not Metroid.
It's not Metroid. That's the problem with a lot of these games, is that they sort of illustrate that, not so much what they're doing wrong, but what the great games do great. And yeah, I don't know. I'd like to
Well,
go
mate,
back to it though.
this looks like a proper rip. I haven't played Metroid, but like there's a suit level. I'm like, that sounds like a Metroid thing, having a suit.
Yeah, I got to that point where I'd collected enough stuff so you can do it. There's an upgrade path on some of the stuff. So I had to, upgraded my health a bit and I think I upgraded the suit. But I don't know. The aesthetics of it is quite nice. It had this quite sort of atmospheric music or whatever. A little bit of me is feeling like it's probably more atmospheric driving, driving it than perhaps gameplay. But I don't know. I need to find out and play more. So I'm not going to dwell on Ghost Song for too long. I would like to just pick it. It's on my Series S. So like it's going to be a couch one. I'll pick it up again next time I sit on the couch and just want to play something. So
Right.
yeah. So that's there. I can't talk too much more about it.
No,
I think they
well,
were talking about
I've got a game that I didn't play that much of either.
Okay.
But
Well, I think the
good.
veteran gamers were talking about Ghost Song, so
really?
you can go.
Okay. Did they go and talk about it for a lot longer?
I don't know. I didn't really
I
listen
think
to
I
that.
don't know if I
I think I
downloaded.
listened to that even less than I played it myself.
Right. Well, I played another game which is on the Game Pass. I think this is all right though. It's called Gunfire Reborn.
Now I know this game.
I think it's been in early access for a while. It's a first-person shooter, roguelike, light, whatever. So you go on a run, and then when you die, you start again. But you get to keep some sort of progress. I can't remember now exactly what it was. It's like a bit cell shaded. It's like it looks a bit like, I don't know, a mashup of Overwatch and Borderlands. It's like cell shaded 3D graphics. Looks real nice. I think it looks really nice. And when you shoot things, numbers pop off their heads and stuff like that. There's crit hits and all that sort of shit. So it pays to hit things in the head or their weak points. I assume there may be other weak points later on. I played for a good half an hour. I did play for half an hour because that's how long my run lasted roughly. Got to the boss and I died at the boss. I don't know how many of these you have to kill. This is the boss on the screen right now that I died to. He needed a lot of damage doing, and I failed to do enough damage to kill him. But the shooting feels good. I was playing mouse and keyboard. It's on the Xbox as well, I believe, as PC. And it's cool. Like when things die, they drop stuff. You pick it up. It's currency. You go every time you finish like a little mini area. There's a chest that you open at the end. That's where it looks a bit like Overwatch because they like explode, and all the shit comes out. You've got ammo dropping around the air level as you go, so you need to pick up your ammo. Some of the ammo is infinite on your basic primary weapon kind of thing. You'll pick up like guns just drop all the time, and they've got all these stats and different effects. Like there'll be like if you hit a critical hit, it will do such and such and all sort of shit. So there's a lot of it's like that's where the Borderlands kind of sort of similarity is. It's all the guns dropping all the time with all the different stats and different effects, elemental effects, and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't play loads of it. You've got like a grenade that you can throw and like a special power as well. And you can change the types. I had a poison grenade going, so you just chuck a poison grenade and it would like do damage tick over time on enemies that walked into the poison cloud. And then there was like a sort of, I had a power that I used. I can't remember what it's called, but it basically put chains on enemies and held them in place until it felt like until I shot them or they broke out of it. But literally, as soon as I shot them, they came out of the chains. But it was one of those things you could delay, like if you were, in a bit of shit, like getting a bit of a kick in, you could use that power, back off, heal up, and get back in the fight. But yeah, it's cool. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I've always known this game was on my radar because a lot of people had been talking highly of it, and then Matt and I did play it. We went in as a co-op on PC, but we didn't get on with it. Not that we didn't like it, but we didn't feel any need to keep playing it. This was probably about a year ago.
Yeah, so this is proper out now, I think. This is actually
I'm just wondering whether maybe they've made some changes that we don't know about. So yeah, I might pop it back on a download and it's Game Pass,
I just played
right?
it on my own. Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I just played it on my own, so I know you can co-op it. But yeah, there's a lot. It looks like there's a lot to do, a lot to pick up, and a lot of things, different ways that you could be doing things. Like I say, just the weapons that drop.
I don't think we scratched the surface on it. Yeah. I don't think we gave it a fair shake.
So yeah, Gunfire Reborn.
Check it out.
Exactly.
Is it me? Ooh.
Can be.
Okay. In my hunt. Oh, hunt. I'm not going to talk about.
No, we're not talking about that yet.
In my quest for couch games, I just find it so difficult to sit down and find a decent game that I want to play on the couch. But I got a hankering, and I loaded up Trials Evolution.
That's a bit of a random one.
Back
fucking
old
10
school.
years.
10 years or probably something like that. I did download, I think, Trials HD, which is the first one, right? Theoretically the first one. I think there was maybe one before that.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing there was a non-HD one. Who knows?
I'm trying to remember that, whether there was there a Trials game out on the normal Xbox before the Xbox 360?
I don't know.
I feel like I played one years ago.
Might have been on the PlayStation. Probably on the PlayStation game.
Anyway.
But it came to, I remember Trials HD came to Xbox Live Arcade, as it was called back in those days. And it was like 800 Microsoft points or whatever it was at the time. And it was fucking awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it is. But Trials Evolution is even better. And I just had a hankering for what was it called? What was the track that goes on for like about 20 minutes? Giga Track or something? I think it was called. I can't remember any of them. There's one huge track, and I was like, I could just play that. I just have that level, play Giga Track, and just do that whole level, because it takes about a quarter of an hour to get through around the whole track. But I loaded it all up. I downloaded it, loaded it up, and there was no save files. So maybe
no cloud
it all saved. Yeah, maybe I didn't cloud save it, because I think it was probably around about that time where it was iffy whether things were cloud saving or not. Not everything cloud saved, or you had to manually save stuff in the cloud in the early days. But it didn't really matter, because I just loaded it up, and then it's like, well, I'll just play through all the levels, and it's just great. It's just fucking brilliant. It's a prime example of something simple with bloody great mechanics, right? That just work perfectly. Like it's so good, and all the way from that Trials HD, Trials Evolution, Trials.
I had Trials Fusion.
Trials Fusion, I think, is the third one, isn't it? And
then it definitely came out. That came out after Blood Dragon. It was like the big release after. I don't think people really rated Fusion as much because it got a bit. I don't know. Can't remember why. I don't think that was rated as nice, as good as the others.
I think Fusion got too hung up on like unlockables and things like that.
I think that's what it was.
Something like that. Trials of the Blood Dragon was pretty good. But Trials Evolution is the one I think is where it's at. There's yeah, it's just great. It's just great.
Fucking
There's lots.
bonkers,
There's
this one.
Easter eggs. There's Easter eggs in it. There's some great variety in the types of courses. I just forgotten, like just running through all the trials, like doing the first thing, first exercises to get you your license or whatever, and then doing the early trials, and you know, even on the earlier tracks, you're like, that wasn't too difficult, but then you realize you didn't get the gold, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
You're
you're like,
about
oh
30
yeah,
seconds off for doing it, and you're like, what the hell?
yeah. So you do it 33 seconds, but you need to do 30 seconds with no errors. And Yeah, and it's like literally like riding a bike. You remember how to play it. You haven't forgotten how to play it. But then it's just the nuances of the tracks, right? Just things like when you have the undulations. Do you slow?
Yeah.
You can't
Do
go
you need
hell
to
for
go
leather
fast
on.
here, or do you need to go slower?
Yeah, and some of the jumps, like it pays you not to go full tilt. Like,
Yeah, because you might land on a better track that just lets you just zip through a bit that you didn't even know was there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you've never played a trials game and you want, that was the big debate back in the day. That's what I remember was. I think it was Stu Fowler said it was a puzzle game. Trials is a puzzle game, and I remember sort of like arguing. I didn't really think it was a puzzle game, but I think in a way I may have been arguing for the sake of arguing.
Well, that's not like you.
It, it is a little bit. It is a little bit. Like I think it's. I don't know. It blurs the line between skill based and puzzle, because some of the tracks, like we said, it's not always the best thing to hit a jump as fast as you can and go as far as you can. Sometimes it pays you to back off just a tiny bit so that you can stick a landing at a better spot. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit of a
I think
little bit of
I think most games could be classed as puzzle games because there is always a problem to solve, one way or another. Whether that is shooting a boss in the face enough times, that is still a puzzle to be solved potentially.
true.
So that when it all boils
Yeah,
down to it, they are all. Some of them are very basic puzzles, but it's still a problem to be solved somehow. Therefore, it's a puzzle.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
he was
Trials
right. So Stu was
Evolution.
right. Stu was right. Don't tell him though. He
He was
never heard
sort
the
of
end of
right.
it.
He was sort of right. Yeah. So yeah, Trials Evolution's great to go back to that,
Oh
and
no,
and
I'm drinking.
yeah, it looks great. Still plays great. So
It does look a little bit old.
a little bit, yeah,
It is
but
a 360 game at the end of the day, by the look of it. It's definitely got 360 prompts coming up on the screen.
yeah,
So, yeah, that is a bit aged nowadays. But yeah, I don't like I say. I think Fusion wasn't regarded as well when that came out, and
yeah.
that's definitely a
But
Xbox
some
One.
games, some gameplay does age. Like this looks a
Mm.
little bit like a little past its prime, but it still plays brilliantly.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
like yeah.
It's that
So
instant replay, instant restart. Absolutely crucial in games like this.
oh
Like you
yeah,
don't even like. There's a button that you don't even have to have failed. That you can just go fuck. I fucked this up. I've not crashed, but I'm going to restart because I know I fucking
yeah. You
ballsed
just
it up
hit B.
already. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm very careful about playing trials because I also know from history is that game has the potential to trigger the fuck out of me as
Yeah.
well, right? When you're really trying to get a good time. So
Yes.
I'm very, very wary of just picking up and playing it and just enjoying going through the levels and trying not to look at the leaderboards and trying not to worry about my gold stars or whatever and just enjoy jumping around or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Finishing that level,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. So that's that. That's Trials Evolution.
Julio. Back to me then. What have I got next? Okay, yep. Right. Good old Mint Safe is in the Discord for us. Keeps posting every 2 weeks that Gran Turismo has released a new time trial. And sometimes, quite a lot of the times, I'll go in and have a go. Sometimes I don't talk about it because I do really shit. And I don't want to talk about it when I do really shit. But I wouldn't say I've done well this time, but I have enjoyed it. And it did make me go back and do some other things in Gran Turismo, which I ain't done. So basically, there is this part of GT7 called GT Sport, which is like their sort of. I think I've talked about it before. It's like the hardcore multiplayer area where there's every 2 weeks there's a time trial, and then next to the time trial is like a race, and every 15 to 20 minutes, whatever, there's like a race, and it goes. Fraser's disappeared. He's coming back. Yes, there's
up shitting the bed.
Yeah, there's a race. Like I say, so I don't know how. I think it's maybe there's a timer ticking down where you have to enter this race by, and then the race goes off. I don't know if it's qualifying or whatever, but I haven't done any of those. I've just been doing these time trials, which are part of the GT Sport. And this week's one is Interlagos, which is where the F1 is this weekend. But it's not in an F1 car. It's in a Nissan Skyline GTR 2002, which is a bit of a classic Gran Turismo car, I would say, because it's like a souped up one. It's like top at GTR or whatever, nice end, top end, fucking not a race version, but the top of the range Skyline.
I think
from that era.
Gran Turismo is the whole reason I know what a Nissan Skyline is.
Yeah, more than likely. So you're basically just doing time trials, going round and round and round the same fucking lap over and over and over again. No pit stops, no fuel, no tyre wear, whatever. Just going as fast as you can around this lap. I'm not showing that on the screen right now. I am showing an actual race on the screen around the same track, but different cars. I have tried multiple times to do these things, and I never get. If you're in the top 3%, you get something like, I can't remember what it is. You get an award. I think it's $1 million. PS whatever GT credits. If you get in the top 5%, you get $500,000. If you get in the top 10%, you get like 100,000 or whatever, $250,000. I've never hit the top 5%. And I'm certainly never going to get into the top 3% because I'm pretty sure there's like proper GTers in there.
Proper
G's. With the proper setups. No, they've got the proper setups and that. Because I'm just playing on my DualSense controller. I ain't got a setup. I haven't got a wheel or anything like that for my PlayStation. But yeah, I did play this for good. I reckon I spent a good hour and a half just going around in the same car, trying to get quicker, and I got all right. I did okay, and then I don't know what made me do it, but I was like, I feel like what I noticed. I'd watched a video, right, and there's an indicator on the screen when your traction control kicks in, and I noticed that it's always fucking coming on when I'm playing. And it wasn't coming on at all when this guy that I was watching a video had it on. I was like, all right, there must be a way to completely turn that off. Because obviously when your traction control's kicking in, the car is restricting you like from spinning the wheels, which may, usually actually means it's slowing you fucking down. Or it might just be stopping you fucking completely crashing the car, which is the idea of it. But, so I found a way. I found the menu. It's you push right on the D-pad a load of times, and there's a setting for traction control, and you can go up, crank it right up, or turn it right down. So I had it set to 1, and I was like, right, I'm going to fucking turn this off. Because it's a 4-wheel drive car. It's pretty grippy, a Skyline. It's going to take a lot to fucking spin that motherfucker out. Mm-hmm. And so I turned it off, and the next few laps, I was like, I'm definitely doing quicker. The traction control's not kicking in or anything. And I'm like giving a little bit of back, like it's a 4-wheel drive, so it doesn't properly lose the back end or anything. But you can definitely feel it's losing the grip a little bit a few times. And it's like, this is way more fun. And then there was one corner that I just kept fucking up completely and just completely going off the track. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And I just wasn't hitting my braking point. And I was just like trying to yam it around the corner too quick. And it would just spin off. I was like, right, okay. So once I got that nailed, I was like 1.3 seconds quicker than my previous time without traction control. I was like, here we fucking go. And yeah. So I did a few more laps at that, and I basically did the 1.3 seconds quicker, and that was as fast as I got. I was like, right, okay, what should I do now? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the licenses because I did all the licenses fucking when I first played the game. And you get like a bronze, silver, or gold rating. So you have, can you remember Gran Turismo? You had the B license, the A license, International B, International A, and it's like the Super license or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'd done all the licenses before, but I hadn't golded them all. So that after I'd done a load of laps there, I just went, I'm going to just go into the licenses, just get a couple of golds, and then spent the next couple of hours. I got the first, like B, A, and International B all to gold. And I was like, when you get all gold, they give you a car. It's like, nice. So I got 3 more cars. And I won't spoil what cars they were. I was like, yeah, it's cool. I fucking like it. But I've not really done any racing against either AI or actual people. But it's definitely got
tell us what
problems.
kind of cars you got.
No, because that'd be a spoiler for people who haven't done the licenses.
Well, they can stop listening.
Spoilers. I can't remember the first two. Oh, I do actually. Well, I remember one of them. One of them was a Mitsubishi GTO, which is another Gran Turismo classic.
Oh, mate, that was my favorite car from back in Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
That great was such a great all-rounder.
Yeah. That's a beast, but I haven't really. Well, one of the licenses was driving one of those. But yeah, I haven't really driven that one much. And then the one I got for International B was a Porsche Taycan Turbo, which is the electric car, and it's fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because one of the license tests is you drive the Porsche Taycan around the Nordschleife. You don't do the whole lap; you got to do a few corners, and it's just.
How can an electric car have turbo?
I don't know. It's called a Porsche Taycan Turbo. That's all I can tell you. I was like, I don't quite know how that works. All I know is when you put your foot down in that thing, it's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know how long the battery would last. Probably about. I don't even know if it'd get round Nordschleife. It's like fucking 20 minutes. Well, it's not 20 minutes in one of them. It's probably about 8 minutes in one of those because it's rapid. But yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun if you just like driving. And if you can get into the. Looks like if you get into the sports multiplayer scene, it can be a lot of fun if you get in with a good crowd, I suppose, because it has got this slate like you get a driver rating and a sportsmanship rating. So if you crash into everyone, you'll end up in lobbies where everyone's a dick. So you just get lumped in. Yeah. So if your sportsmanship rating is shit.
Do you know that's happening, or do they shadow?
Yeah. It says on your says on your profile what your sportsmanship rating is and everything.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. Might not be called sportsmanship, but it's something like that. But yeah, so you have 2 ratings, like your actual like speed rating, and then like a like I don't know what you fucking like I say sportsmanship type rating. But yeah, it's cool, that part of it. But I ain't really messed with it. If there's loads of people out there who had it, I wouldn't be mind getting into a few races with other people. But yeah, I'm not really up for. I don't know. Rando racing can be a bit iffy.
Right.
But yeah, Gran Turismo, it's not perfect. There's definitely got some problems. A lot of people, every time I look at videos for Gran Turismo, it's like the state of Gran Turismo, and it's loads of negative videos and shit like that. But that's YouTube, isn't it? Got to make your money somehow. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good. All right.
So what else have you got?
Well, I'll talk briefly about PUBG, the old favourite. I think there were loads of us online last weekend. I can't remember what night it was. I think it was either Friday night or Saturday night. And so PUBG got mentioned, and 5 or 6 of us jumped in, and we played some custom PUBG. And I don't play PUBG very often anymore, but what's great is to jump into PUBG after you have been playing other games. Because jumping back into PUBG the other day, man, that game is looking fucking brilliant. It plays really well. I mean, I've probably said this every time we jump back into PUBG for a game, but the gunplay is just so good. So good. And it's polished now. You know,
What?
For a game that was historically so jank. I mean, that was the thing about PUBG. For those who, weren't around in the early days, it was the running gag that, it was a fantastic premise for the game type. It really was the game that gave us Battle Royale. Uh, the gunplay was
Military style battle royale, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. And it was the gunplay was always good. Always has been great. But there was a lot of jank to it. I mean, in the early days there were cars flying around all over the place. It wasn't well optimized, it was always we always knew that they were building it. It was never built on solid foundation. Like I think it was a mod anyway, and then it was sort of like built from that mod and just rickety, things patched on here and there, and it was never great. It almost feels like they've got it to where it should have been, 3 or 4 years ago. Brilliant. It just looked really good, ran so smooth, and
This
and
does not
looks
sound like PUBG.
and looks really good. Like it looks really good, and that may be a little bit of that from playing Hunt, which isn't. It's not that Hunt isn't a good looking game. It's not really a good looking game, but it's not as crisp, and it's not a crisp looking game. But PUBG was looking crisp.
Why is that? I don't know what it is with Hunt. Like, I watched videos of Hunt earlier, and I was like, that looks fucking amazing on this guy's fucking system. And I've got a good system. I'm like, why doesn't it look like that when I play?
I think it does. I just don't think you get a chance to sort of take yourself out and appreciate, like I know we're talking about Hunt, but one of the things I noticed the other day was when I went looking for the beetle spawns, is you had to look for these big trees. And it gave me an opportunity to stop playing the game and just look at trees. And I was like, you know what? That's a good tree. Trees trees have been around in games for a long time, and if anybody's been paying attention, it's always been interesting to see how do they do trees. The trees in Hunt are pretty good, but anyway, PUBG was just brilliant. I will be going back. I think PUBG, what PUBG needs now is the problem with PUBG is I don't want to play a game of PUBG where it's a squad going in and I die, and then you just have to sit there and watch the rest of it. Yeah. So a lot of people have been calling for a revive system in PUBG, some way to do that.
What, like they have in Fortnite?
Yeah, probably. It's difficult because it's
if you get to a certain
PUBG.
point, then you can revive your teammates. Well, Apex Legends, I think, has it as well, doesn't it?
Yes, I think so. I don't know for sure, but I guess it's the case of like PUBG. If it wants to stay relevant, it has to,
It's probably in PUBG Mobile already. That's the thing. The mobile game, like I said, I looked up this video and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It says PUBG, but it looks like Fortnite, and I realised it was PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, yeah, because if you play solo and you die, well, that's it. If you play duos and you die, chances are your mate's probably going to die trying to pick the same fight. But squads is pretty brutal, right? Because you die in squads, and
yeah, there's still three people.
How many times? There's still three people alive, and majority rules, and
just
they're
go
going to
make a cup of tea, lads. Yeah, back in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's PUBG. It was nice to revisit. I'll be going back into there. I'm definitely not uninstalling. It
does
look
nice in videos. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's playing really nice. Yeah, and the customs we played was fun, right? That was good fun. And we had Kev came and joined us, who we haven't seen for quite a while, and him and Arnie just pretty much dominated. Curse those good players. But
you haven't been helped by the gunplay in Hunt then.
Well, the thing here we're going to drift back.
No, I'm not going to talk about it. Just how is it? Maybe has it helped or hindered?
Actually, I found I'm playing a lot more aggressive. I don't know why, but I was playing a lot more aggressive PUBG. I feel like I want to play more aggressive PUBG than I used to play. But then that's a whole topic of conversation about aggressive play versus cautious play, which we can no doubt address in Hunt Showdown discussion. But I think Valorant helped with that as well, because Valorant's so that's all about being aggressive, really. I don't know. Just keep playing. Just keep playing all these games and shooting stuff. It's just fun, right?
Well, I've got another first person thing to talk about. It's the first person shooter night. Because Halo Infinite has had a winter update where they have added, among other things, campaign co-op, which was missing. It's been out a year, hasn't it, this game?
Campaign co-op, if I remember correctly, was supposed to be coming in April.
Yeah, I think it's been tested in like April, May, or maybe August time, but it's now out. So you can also, there's replayable missions, so you can just go and replay a mission rather than like have to, I don't know, you had to play through the whole fucking campaign again, didn't you, or something, to get to the mission that you wanted to. It was a bit of a fucking nightmare. But now you can just go to a mission select screen and play the one mission that you want to play. And the Forge mode is in there. So people have been making all sorts of crazy shit in Forge. Blood Gulch apparently has been remade in Halo Infinite, which was that Halo 1 or Halo 2? I can't remember now. But it was a much loved multiplayer map from back in the day.
Actually, no, that might have been Halo 1.
So, and then someone's remade Shipment from 2019 Modern Warfare in Halo with all the spawns and everything. It's like, I don't know. You can, there's a place, I think someone's set up because it's not quite good enough, because obviously somewhere outside the game there is a place to find all of the good maps. But there is a search of sorts in the game, in the Forge, to find stuff. So, and it was the high, you can give things like a thumb up or a like or whatever, and the most liked things are rising to the top, whatever. But so I did have a quick wander around the Shipment map, but I couldn't work out how to get a multiplayer game going in it, so I went, nah, fuck this, and just went and played the multiplayer, because I ain't played for ages. And there's a new game mode. I fucking can't remember what it's called. I didn't like it, so I just went back into quick play and had a few games.
Just like another multiplayer game mode.
I think it was single flag, capture the flag, but you had like, yes, it was like you were attackers or defenders, and if you were attacking, you had invisibility cloaks, and if you're defending, have you ever remember the threat sensor things? You like ping out a thing, and it would like in an area would like reveal anything that was hidden, like in a sort of sphere. But yeah, I felt like the attackers just had a fucking huge advantage being invisible. So I was just like, because I getting walloped in the back. I was like, so I didn't really enjoy that. So then I just went and played some standard multiplayer. There is a new map, which I think is the one on the screen right now, because I don't recognise this one. I haven't played it.
I don't think it's on the screen.
Oh fuck yeah! Sorry, it's on my screen. I was just watching it happily, going, yeah, this looks alright. I don't recognise this, but yeah. Anyway, there's a new map, or maybe more than one new map. So they've put in a whole load of work. I've definitely played this one a few times. I don't know if this is like weird esports mode, where like people are all yellow and purple. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, people who aren't watching can't see that. But I don't know. It's good, but it's not Hunt Show. So
it's good, but there's no room for it right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're doing some stuff. I think the next season pass, battle pass, whatever they want to call it, is going to have just progression based on constant play. Basically, you won't have, because at the moment you have like a challenge that you have to complete before you level up, like get the XP. So you'll just get XP for playing in the next season or whatever it is. I don't know when it is. But it's fun to, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
Say
much. I
no
don't know how
more.
much more I'll play, but it's still right. Like if I had a few people were playing it with, it'd probably be quite a lot more fun. And there is new stuff in there. Like I say, there's campaign co-op. There's a load of stuff. The Forge stuff could get very cool because it just gives you basically a blank canvas, I think, and you could put because like back in the day, obviously there was quite a heavy restriction on how much stuff you could add to a map.
Yeah, but
But
I can believe it, right? Because if you remember, one of the best things about Halo was it Halo 2
I can't
or was
remember
it
when
Halo
Forge
3
first hit.
when
It might have been 3.
3 and somebody came up with the zombies mode and it was just brilliant. There was a period where all I was playing was
Yeah.
Halo Zombies. It was
Well, I
just
just like the rocket
infected, wasn't
races
it?
and stuff like
Infected or
that.
something.
Like people like you just get you and a guy on a mongoose, like just loads of people on the mongoose, like the little quad bikes. One driving and one on the back with a rocket launcher, and just fucking how much hilarity! Like people would make like tracks. Oh, it's just fucking insane the stuff that people come up with. So hopefully that's half as good at what's been in before, because the stuff that you can do now, the amount of stuff you can put in the maps, like it makes people just literally like making things from scratch. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What could potentially happen with this game now that that's finally here. So yeah, worth keeping an eye on, keeping your eye in. On the sort of the gunplay is obviously a bit different from what I've been used to recently, but yeah, it's fun. But more to come, I would say. I'll have another few goes this week and see how we get on.
All right. Okay. Another
We're going to talk
first-person
about another
shooter.
shooter.
Yeah, another first-person shooter, which mentioned before, Valorant. We haven't been playing a lot of Valorant recently. It's really fallen off not everybody's radar, but it's certainly fallen off our radar. I'm dipping back in now and then to play with Arnie usually when he gives me a shout on it. But what I had done was I had said to my daughter, because both my kids play Valorant. My daughter is like hardcore, always playing Valorant. Is I said, okay, we'll have you get your guys together. We'll get a team together and we'll have a kids versus adults game. So I set the date, November the 6th. We all got all the adults who I play with, got them all set up with North America accounts because all the kids playing in North America over here. People were asking me, we were talking about it, we're getting excited. Oh, how do you think it's going to go? And I was like, you know what? The kids are good. Make no bones about it. Those kids are good. They have nice, succulent, fresh neurons, quick reactions. They're enthusiastic. They're good. You know, they can really do some serious damage. We're old, slow, not as fast, but we have some tactical nous, perhaps, and some organizational skills that we can put to good use. You know, play a tactical game. You know, use that to our. You know, hopefully that will give us an edge. So who knows which way it was going to go? I was confident, you know, that we had Arnie as well, who's like a really good player. We had a couple of other guys who are really good. Some very mediocre players like myself, but with some enthusiasm, which can help. And yeah, so we got together on Sunday. We started playing, and they absolutely fucking destroyed us. Like no messing around, no ifs, buts, that was close, none of that. They absolutely wiped the floor with us. I think we lost something like 13-2 in the first game. I felt like we were doing better in the second game. I think we lost that one 13-1. And then
Wow,
it was just over. They
brutal.
absolutely brutalized
Were they
us.
were they laughing at you, or
No,
were they like? Were you in the
there was
same
a little
chat so you couldn't hear?
bit of trash talk. You know, they're good kids. They're respectful. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
bad. You know, Arnie on our team performed and he became the hero. They were all talking to him because he was doing some of his mad sage walls and stuff like that. And he was carrying us all on his shoulders. You know, he was posting good scores. The rest of us were just trash. We were so out of practice. You know, you could blame people may be blaming ping or whatever like that. But the simple fact is none of us have played much for the last few months and we were just dog shit. and it was fucking awful.
Hunt needs custom games. Is that what you're saying?
Well, Hunt. I think that's quite. We're talking about Hunt again. Every time we talk about a game, we're talking about Hunt.
It's because it's a bloody shooter. That's the shooter of choice at the moment.
Yeah, it is the shooter of choice. I think if we'd had this Valorant game, I don't want to take anything away from them. They had a couple of players on their team who were just really good, like nailing headshots, like we're not used to at all. And I think they're dying, and I think that they had like one of their top players on their team. I think it was Yaya. His name's Yaya, and like I think he's
Is it one of those things like all he does all day, every day is play Valorant?
That's all they do. That's all they do. I bet you my daughter's playing Valorant right now. But they're all like they had a couple of platinum players, diamond. My daughter just hit gold. Like I've never hit gold, So yeah, they're good. They're young and good. Curse them.
Yeah.
But I think they enjoyed themselves,
I'm sure they did, laughing at the old
not
folk.
entirely sure that we enjoyed ourselves, but I'm
Did you just keep it together enough to not lose your shit?
Not quite. I think I did. I was getting a little bit ratty during it.
Did you have a nice family meal afterwards, or was it like?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you know what?
Just
no,
everyone's
absolutely.
Complete silence.
No. I mean, that was amongst ourselves as the team. We weren't all in the same chat while we were playing. So as a team, we were starting to get a little bit annoyed with this. We don't like to lose. Like we take it. We want to win, but we don't like getting the floor wiped with us. That's not. That's not fun at all. So, it was a little bit.
I watched a video earlier of someone playing that. It was a montage, so it was literally like seconds long clips of. I was just like, fucking hell, they're doing the most crazy shit I've ever seen people do in this game. I don't even know what was going on. It was just like fucking like bam, bam, dead, 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 dead. I was like, fucking hell, these guys are fucking crazy. But obviously, you don't see all the other shit that happens. But from what I did see, I was like, I don't think they have any dodgy looking games. They just look like they were absolutely amazing.
No, some of them are just incredible, right? But they're so finely tuned to peeking a corner and hitting that headshot.
Yeah,
like you just like, don't stand a chance, right?
You know exactly where to aim your cursor at head's height everywhere you go.
Yeah. And when you're 50-something years old and you haven't played for 2 or 3 months, and then like nobody practiced before we went in. I think the only person who's still playing semi-regularly is Arnie, right? So we were, doomed to fail. I think is probably the in hindsight.
You were hopeful of some sort of miracle.
Yeah, I thought I would have liked tactically to have given them a better game, but we just didn't. We just couldn't contain them. We just couldn't. There were points where
too quick.
They just walked in on us, right, on site and stuff like that. It was just.
And you're still talking about what to do, and they've just come in and just wrecked everybody.
It was just savage. It was savage. It was not pretty at all. But that being said, it was the right result. If I had to have chosen a result before we started, I sort of secretly wanted them to win anyway. I wanted the kids to enjoy it. That was, to me, was important. So they absolutely did it did. And speaking of the devil, he's in Discord now. He's in the Twitch chat now.
And he subbed. Thank you very much.
Oh, cheers, Arnie. We're just bigging you up on your Valorant play. Yeah, it's the kids enjoyed it, and like you said, like what was a dinner like? Well, Stan was on our team, so I don't.
So he was sulking.
He doesn't take defeat as badly as I do. He's still, the weight of the world hasn't crushed his spirit like us. He doesn't get tilted. I don't know why these kids don't get tilted like they like.
He plays Stellaris.
Yeah, he's quite chilled, my boy. Actually, yeah.
But he's used to dealing with you old folk. That's what he is. Playing games with old folk.
He's just a nice boy. And
how did that happen?
I don't know. Takes after his mum. And no, seriously. And but like I say, it was the right result. If I'd had to choose the result before we started, I sort of wanted. I was really worried about us. There was a point, naively, where I was worried about us crushing them. Which I didn't want to happen at all. I wanted the kids to enjoy themselves. So I think they did. So it's all good. And like I say, they all thought Arnie was an absolute legend. So yeah, it was neat. It was good. I don't know if I want to do it again, but we may
Not for
at
a
some
while.
point.
Not till you've
Oh,
had
well,
some
actually,
practice.
saying that afterwards, we when we realized that wasn't working and we were just getting destroyed, we mixed the teams up, and I think we had a really decent game afterwards. With everyone playing together, mixed up in teams. So we had a couple of kids with us, a couple of guys shot over to the other side. So yeah, it was good. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. So
Ooh.
yeah, good old Valorant.
Yeah. I haven't played in, I don't know, it's got to be fucking years now. Feels like it's years.
Need to get back on it.
No
chance.
Can't do it. Can't do it. I've played a game that's not a first-person shooter, though.
Uh-oh.
You played a game a little bit like this, and I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to play this, but I knew you were playing it, so that's why I played the other one.
Well, I think you should play this one over the other one, because this one looks well good and plays pretty cool as well.
Okay.
This is The Legend of Tianding, which was the...
because you talked about this last week.
I'd literally played 10 minutes and it crashed my PC. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember.
It was last week.
But yeah, I don't think it crashed my PC. I did something and my PC crashed while I was playing it. So I went back to it and had another blast. It's one of the coolest looking games I think I've played in a while. That's 2D side scroller type of thing. It's I don't know. You're in Taiwan, obviously, and it's a bit early 1900s, I guess. So there's no like motor vehicles and all that sort of shit. But it's sort of, it looks a bit like a cartoon. It's really cool. You're the hero of the day who's called Tianding, and there's a big bad Japanese guy. I think he's Japanese. He's like, he's just a big old meanie, like a rich person who takes the piss out of all, and robs all the poor people and of all their money. Any money they do have is like hoovers it all up. He's super rich, big fat guy, and he's the first boss you've got to kill. So, I don't know if it's a Metro. I don't know if it's a Metroidvania. There's a tutorial that you play through, and you learn a load of skills. And I've forgotten some of those. I just watched one of the video and went, oh yeah, I forgot I could do that, which is deflecting bullets with your attack. Because the guy at the end, first boss, he shoots bullets at you. So if I'd have remembered that you could deflect them, maybe I wouldn't have kept dying, which is where I stopped playing. But in between, the combat's pretty good. And there was like a part of the game where I had to explore. I can't remember what it was. It was like a sewers almost. And you pick up scrolls and learn 4 skills. So, like I say, I can't say it's Metroidvania because you pick up all four of these skills really quickly. You just go through this like a sort of mini maze, through some doorways and ups and down some ladders and shit like that. Have a few scraps with various enemies. There's like some coppers that are pretty easy. They come at you with a truncheon. You can beat them up quite easily. Then there's like a bigger guy with a big fucking sledgehammer or whatever, big axe, and you can you need to like dodge some of their attacks, and then like the combat was pretty straightforward. Basically, there's like a few key things that you need to learn, like the dodge, and then there's these extra powers that you pick up, which were very Metroidvania-like. There was like a flying kick to the right, a kick that goes up. So when you do it, you get a double jump. So you get a double jump, and then you do a kick, you can go that bit higher. And then you can maybe do the flying kick to the right to get to that point that you couldn't get to before you had those abilities. But it's not full Metroidvania because, well, I don't think it is, because, like I say, you pick up all these skills throughout basically the course of one level. And then you go and fight the boss, and this is where I got to and just kept dying. But he's a guy on like a big fat guy on like a wheeled cart that's pulled by his slave type guy.
Oh,
And
nice.
then
Okay.
there's some like each time you get like you'll get this. It feels like there's 3 phases, and I got to the third phase a few times. Like, but as each phase gets done, something else will come into the fray to the battle to make things a bit more tricky. And it got to the point where I just couldn't do that third phase. I just thought something and I can't remember. Oh yeah, and when you use the specials that you pick up from the scrolls, you have like a stamina bar. So you can only get like I think it's 3 uses before your stamina's drained. Then you have to wait for your stamina to build back up, so that you can use those specials again. But most of all your basic skills, you can just like slam through, like double jump forever, and the normal combat and the dodges are all there. But yeah, there's all like those Metroidvania type tracks where there's like a big burning column of fire, for example, that you can dodge through and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it looks really cool, plays really nice, but it got a bit hard at the boss. So, but I've got to go back and have a go, and see if I can get any further, because I do actually quite like it, and the story's pretty cool. I didn't actually find out what language it's in, but it's
You're playing
definitely
on
not
a
English.
controller?
I am playing on a controller. It works natively with my PS controller as well. So
all right, I might sack off Ghost Song and then
this looks proper nice. This does. I imagine on a TV it looked really good on that Series S, but it looks well nice on my PC.
Okay.
And that's that Legend of Tianding. You should check it out if you have Game Pass.
I'm going to check it out.
Good.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, then that leaves us one more to talk about. Hunt, as usual. I am going to request that we don't spend too much time on it.
We don't have to talk too much. We've talked a lot about this game over the last.
Yeah. I think really all I want to do is probably just some of the notable points from this week is we've had some, the normal crew is playing. Defo has stepped up to the plate and is playing loads. We're having a lot of fun with him. He has started the new crisp 'em up meme now, so it's almost obligatory now to try and set fire to our opponents. We had a game the other day. I keep forgetting who was in that game. Was it me, you, and Defo?
I think
where
so.
we came across
We didn't kill anyone.
We didn't kill anyone, but we managed to crisp up 6 bodies. So that was good. We're thinking about doing a crisping league table, possibly. But crisp 'em up is the new catchphrase, I think, for that, which has been very funny. And I just feel like I've enjoyed this game a lot more the past week, playing lot more aggro.
Did you?
Well, okay. I've forgotten about that. Yeah, Arnie in the chat says always be flushing. Yeah, it's ABC. Always be crisping. For sure. Yeah, okay, we'll deal with that. I lost the plot yesterday playing, and rage quit. Doesn't happen often.
I think that's the first time I've witnessed a rage quit in Hunt, at least.
Yeah, I shouldn't have been playing. I was fucking exhausted, tired, hungry, and annoyed. It doesn't make for a good combination for playing hardcore shooters.
It was quite funny though.
Yeah, and again, I was a little bit.
You should have hung around as well, because
I should have hung around because you started wrecking them all as soon as I quit.
Well, I say I didn't. I ended up dying. You wouldn't have helped there, but it was me, you, and Matt, and yeah. So I managed to. There was an area of the map. I can't remember what it was now. There was like a sort of a wooden construction of multiple levels, and there was clearly at least one chap in there that we knew about, and I managed to ping him in the bunts, and you decided to run off in there and crisp him up. I think was the idea. You were going to go and crisp him up.
No, I wasn't running into crisp him up. I was running in there just to basically get that to get in there. Like if there was another guy in there, I wanted to shotgun him because I figured if he'd gone down, he was in cover. So if there was another guy in there, they would be in the process of getting him up. So I wanted to run in and get my shotgun out because I was running the shotgun aggro build, but I got ganked and killed on my way
You
into.
didn't get quite to the
I
doorway. It just went
fucking
bang.
screwed it up.
And that was just it. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm not
Yeah.
playing anymore. And then I fucking domed the next two guys. Turns out though one of them got rezzed. So when I thought I'd killed, I was like, I've got the same guy 3 times, but there was 2 people in hats that I'd killed 3 times total. And so the guy that I thought was downed 3 times wasn't actually downed, and his mate had got him up. Yeah, and then I died. But it was fun. Like I had a sniper rifle for the first time with a real zoomed in scope, and I was just like, oh, this is quite a lot easier to pick people's heads off with.
Why do you not normally run that then?
I've not run a fucking sniper scope ever. Like I've had dead eyes and marksman scopes, but I've never had the full
not a proper
full sniper scope, which is like the full length of the fucking rifle scope. It's massive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is like, it's great when you're quite a long way away. Well, not even that far away. Just like, I don't know, what was I? Not even 40 meters probably away. But it was just like, man, I could literally just see this guy's face. Basically, I could shoot him straight in the face. Whereas normally, like, they're a little dot. I did pick some guy's head with a pistol from about 60 meters the other day, which was pretty special. But he wasn't moving at all. He wasn't ducking and diving. He was just sat there trying to shoot Fraser, and I managed to time the wobble on the fucking revolver that I had and pinged him straight in the head. That was pretty cool. There's just so many good moments. I mean, there's a lot of moments where you're like, for fuck's sake, I've just fucking died. But when you ping people in the head, feels pretty good in that game.
Oh yeah, when it comes off, it's great. I mean, like the good thing, the thing I have got smart about is like when we're playing in the evenings, and you know there is a cutoff point. The biggest problem I have with this game is overplaying it, where it's like, you know, I haven't played it. I think I played maybe one game with you guys earlier, 2 games this morning, right? But that's it. I haven't played all day, so I'm looking forward to some games tonight.
I haven't played
But it is a good, like there's always one more game. We'll just play one more game. I mean, like, it's a serious addiction to this game right now. The smart money is on winning a game and then getting the hell out and shutting her down and going, I'm going to finish on a high, walk away, just walk away, you know.
Yeah, that
Otherwise,
doesn't happen that often, does it?
it doesn't, but I think that's one of the things
because that's like, well, that could be the first game you play of an evening. You're like, well, that's not going to be the end of it,
I wouldn't do that. But I mean, like Gary was on last night. I went off and did a few things, and then Gary was on when I came back. And I was like, I could easily jump into another game with Gary, but I'm like, oh, dude, you know what? Sooner or later, you got to shut her down, right? You know, it's too easy to keep playing this game. It's brutal, but fun, great fun. And more props to Gary because him and I went out, and I played with him earlier in the week or at the weekend, and I was running the bayonet. I had a bayonet challenge, and I never run a gun with a bayonet, and I got some great bayonet kills, which was just unheard of, which I managed to clip and put on my YouTube. So very, very pleased with that. So yeah, it does offer up some fantastic talking points and things to be
to
be
reminisce
pleased with.
over when you finish it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that? And then yeah, we got some videos usually because we were using on the PC. We got NVIDIA Shadow Play running. We have, so I've got it set up so that it will just automatically record every time I kill someone. It automatically saves like the 30 seconds. Well, around that, sort of about 2 or 3 seconds after, and then the previous 20 odd seconds. So you get an automatic clip. That's pretty good. Now I can stitch those together pretty quick. Now I found this thing called Clipchamp, which is an app on my PC, which will like it's a bit like what's the Xbox DVR type of thing. It's a bit similar to that. It's just fucking pretty quick. String a few clips together and slap it in. It'll cloud.
Okay.
It'll just create a link straight in the cloud, so it's there ready to go. It's all right. It's all right. It's not amazing quality, but certainly not as good as I've been recording it in. But it keeps them a bit smaller, which is what you need for certain things. But yeah, still mostly loving it. But
Mostly loving it most of the
mostly
time.
loving it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let's call that a show then, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I want to play some Hunt now.
Yeah, so do I. Or do something. I got to feed my child first. My wife has left me, so
Oh dear.
I
Well,
have.
just for the evening, I hope.
Well, actually, for quite a while, she has opened a store in a mall
Wow.
in a town about half an hour away. So she has all the. She's busy with that. So
Yeah.
yep. So
Good luck to her with that.
I have jobs to do. Shit, I've got to go walk the dog. Just remember, I keep forgetting. I think he's
God.
probably
Well, it's a
sitting
good
there
job we
with
went
crossed
early.
legs. Yes. So I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for accommodating us for the early start. Neil, thank you for accommodating the early start. We'll be back next week.
Aren't you
Do you
supposed to
do you want
say
to do it?
stuff? Should we do the things like if you want to get in
I
touch
don't
with
think we
us?
need to do with the if you get in touch stuff. Let's just give a shout out to anybody who's in
So
the
we've had
chat.
Lord joined towards the end there. Thank you for coming. Arnie Army, give us a sub. Cheers, mate. Defo has been there. Mark was in early. Mint Safe and Chill Robots popped in to say hello at the beginning. And I can't say this. Someone's first time chatter. That's terrible. I can't actually pronounce what that says. I can't work it out. But hello.
Oh, it was no, I can't even see where it is. It's not in my chat. I saw Diab Halgorm.
Yeah,
Right?
something like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're not going to do the usual where to find us bullshit. Well, you know where to find
Join
us.
the Discord. Type exclamation mark Discord.
There you go. Okay. Until next time. Thanks everyone, and we'll catch you later.
See ya.